And I don't know where Cat is, but that is waiting for all of us.
Shannon Sharpe says he's temporarily stepping away from ESPN in the wake of a $50 million lawsuit accusing him of rape. A woman filed suit against Sharpe on Sunday, accusing him of raping her twice.
When it comes to celebrity scandals, the allegations swirling around Shannon Sharpe have all the makings of a Hollywood drama spun completely out of control. What started as whispers of controversy has now erupted into a full-blown storm, complete with leaked audio, explosive accusations, and a trail of messy feuds that spans years. And at the center of it all, a man once celebrated as a football legend and media darling now finds himself grappling with the fallout of lawsuits, damning recordings, and a reputation hanging by an increasingly thin thread.
Alrighty, y'all. So the Shannon Sharpe ESPN does he still keep his job conversation is beginning to, I was gonna say beginning to happen, but it's been happening, but I think now it's beginning to get louder because of different things that Attorney Busby has released, including the audios. So right now the conversation is, why is Shannon Sharpe still able to be?
It all began innocuously enough, or so it seemed. Shannon Sharpe, the Hall of Famer turned high-profile media personality, had been riding a wave of success. His podcast, Club Shay Shay, had skyrocketed in popularity, becoming a go-to platform for raw, unfiltered celebrity interviews that often blurred the line between entertainment and exposés. But behind the bravado and viral soundbites, cracks in the image had been forming, and now they have split wide open for the world to see. The most shocking revelation came from a woman identified as Gabriella Zuniga, who has filed a lawsuit against Sharpe for alleged misconduct over the course of their tumultuous relationship. But this case is anything but straightforward. Zuniga's legal team, led by the controversial attorney Tony Busby, has painted a picture of coercion and control, while Sharpe's camp has hit back with claims of blackmail and manipulation. Both sides have lobbed incendiary accusations, turning what might have been a private matter into a public spectacle of epic proportions.
And that the was about handcuffs, choking, putting on dog collars. Do you get those at Petco?
And then there's the audio. The leaked recording, alleged to feature Sharpe's voice, has sent shockwaves through social media and beyond. In it, a male voice, asserted to be Sharpe's, can be heard threatening to choke a woman during a heated exchange. "If you say that word one more time, I'm going to choke the life out of you when I see you," the voice says, laced with frustration and menace. The woman's response, pleading and uncertain, only adds to the chilling effect. The context of the conversation is murky, with Sharpe's legal team claiming it was part of consensual role-playing, but the implications are damning nonetheless. Public opinion, as always, has been quick to take sides, and the court of social media has already rendered its verdict in countless viral threads and hashtags.
That's how we found out about the lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe. Now, this one has some very strong allegations: sexual assault, sexual battery, assault and battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress. The sexual components obviously give it greater gravity than a car accident or any case based on some sort of negligent slip and fall, something like that, where someone was just being careless.
But wait, it gets messier. The leaked audio is just the tip of the iceberg. Zuniga's lawsuit alleges a pattern of troubling behavior, painting Sharpe as a man who demanded control over her time and actions, making her life revolve around his whims. She claims that the imbalance of power and his alleged actions left her feeling trapped, even fearful. Her lawyers have characterized the situation as a deeply toxic dynamic that spiraled into something far more destructive. Sharpe, for his part, has fiercely denied these allegations, describing them as nothing more than a calculated attempt to tarnish his reputation and extort money. He's even gone so far as to release text messages, purportedly sent by Zuniga, which, if legitimate, reveal a starkly different narrative, one of mutual participation in a relationship that was anything but ordinary. The texts themselves are salacious and jaw-dropping, filled with explicit language and requests that suggest a consensual, albeit unconventional, relationship. "Put a collar around my neck and do whatever you want to me," reads one message, allegedly from Zuniga. Another explicitly refers to her desire to have children with Sharpe, describing him as "my daddy" in a way that has only fueled the intrigue around their dynamic. These messages, Sharpe's team argues, are proof that the relationship was far from the coercive nightmare Zuniga's lawsuit portrays. But Busby has countered with claims that these texts were sent before the alleged incidents, and he has accused Sharpe's team of releasing them out of context to discredit his client. It's a classic case of he said, she said, but with stakes that couldn't be higher.
He only eats the He didn't say anything about any of these white boys.
And just when you think the story couldn't get any more convoluted, enter Dave. Yes, the legendary comedian has thrown his hat into the ring, suggesting that the lawsuit against Sharpe is part of a larger plot to bring him down. According to Dave, powerful figures in the entertainment industry have long been gunning for Sharpe, especially in light of his podcast tendency to expose the unsavory truths of celebrity culture. Dave even hinted that Zuniga might have been manipulated or funded by these shadowy forces to level the allegations against Sharpe. It's a theory that sounds ripped straight from the pages of a conspiracy thriller, but in a world where truth is often stranger than fiction, it's not entirely outside the realm of possibility.
Something you wish you were better at.
Dealing with liars.
Of course, Sharpe's podcast had already made him a polarizing figure long before this lawsuit surfaced. Club Shay Shay earned its reputation as a no-holds-barred platform where guests felt free to air their grievances and spill tea that was often scalding. From Katt Williams' infamous diatribe against fellow comedians to Monique's scathing critique of Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey, the podcast became a lightning rod for controversy. Sharpe's critics accused him of weaponizing his platform to fuel feuds and fan the flames of drama, while his supporters praised him for creating a space where the truth, however messy, could come to light. But now, that very platform is under scrutiny. Some insiders believe that the timing of Zuniga's lawsuit is no coincidence, pointing to Sharpe's rumored multi-million-dollar deal for his podcast as a potential motive for those seeking to undermine him. The allegations, they argue, are a calculated effort to derail his burgeoning media empire before it can reach new heights. Sharpe's team has hinted at this possibility in their public statements, describing the lawsuit as a shakedown, designed to exploit his rising star for financial gain.
The news, Shannon Sharpe. So you guys remember that video that Shannon Sharpe was saying was going to release?
Yes, they did.
No.
Oh.
Yet for all the noise surrounding the lawsuit, it's not the only skeleton in Sharpe's closet that has come tumbling out. As media outlets dig deeper into his past, other allegations have resurfaced, including claims of inappropriate behavior during his tenure at FS1. One particularly damaging story involves an alleged physical altercation with a production assistant, which was reportedly settled quietly for a significant sum. Although Sharpe's representatives have dismissed these claims as baseless, the mere existence of such accusations has added fuel to the fire. And then there's McKay Bundy Evans, another woman who has come forward with allegations against. Claims date back to an alleged incident in 2010, and while they had seemingly faded from public memory, the current scandal has brought them back into the spotlight. Evans has accused Sharpe of using his influence to smear her reputation and silence her, describing her experience as a nightmare that has haunted her for years. Sharpe's team has vehemently denied her allegations, calling them absurd and completely fabricated, but the resurgence of these claims has further complicated an already chaotic situation.
Tony Busby says this is key evidence in our case against Mr. Sharpe, so it will not be coming out. He will not be leaking this.
And saying basically it's going to come out during the trial.
Right.
If there's a trial.
If there's a trial, it will come out, which to me sounds like he's still dangling it over Shannon's head to say, we can meet, we can settle this, or we can go forward into a trial, and then the video is going to come out.
As the lawsuits pile up and the accusations grow louder, one has to wonder how much more Sharpe's reputation can withstand. His once sterling image as a sports icon and media personality has been tarnished, with each new revelation casting a longer shadow over his career. And yet, for all the controversy, Sharpe has remained defiant, insisting on his innocence and vowing to fight back against what he describes as a coordinated attack on his character. But what's next for Shannon Sharpe? As new details emerge and the battle lines are drawn, the story is far from over. The allegations, the feuds, the secrets, the scandal has all the ingredients of a saga that will keep unfolding with twists and turns that no one can predict. And if there's one thing that's certain, it's that the deeper you dig, the murkier it all becomes.
Another interesting thing too, and this is why I said, I've never seen anybody handle a situation worse than Shannon and his team. After this came out, we would have never known about that so-called video if it wasn't for Shannon Sharpe.
Yes.
Shannon jumped out there and revealed that video existed.
Yep.
And he did that for no reason because they wasn't even planning on putting it up.
And just when you think it couldn't spiral further, the rabbit hole opens wider. Shannon Sharpe's carefully curated public image is now being picked apart thread by thread, each new revelation more damning and disorienting than the last. What started as a headline-grabbing lawsuit has metastasized into a sprawling web of accusations, whispered industry secrets, and the kind of drama that seems tailor-made for tabloid frenzy. And with every passing day, more voices, some emboldened by the chaos, others perhaps seeking their moment in the spotlight, are stepping forward with their own stories, adding layers to this already combustible scandal.
Essence from Atlanta, him refusing to look at the evidence just gives me the impression that he wants plausible deniability, and maybe the evidence should be released so that way he does not deny his actions. I mean, if that was me, I would definitely want to look at the evidence to see what I did and did not do so I can maintain my innocence.
One of the most glaring aspects of this saga is the mounting tension surrounding Shannon Sharpe's alleged power plays, not just in his personal relationships, but within the very corridors of the entertainment industry. For years, Club Shay Shay operated as if it were untouchable, a platform where Sharpe could toe the line between charismatic host and gatekeeper of unvarnished truths. But as the lawsuits and allegations stack up, whispers are growing louder about whether Sharpe's success came at a cost far darker than anyone realized. Take, for instance, the claims that Sharpe leveraged his platform to pressure guests into disclosing deeply personal or controversial anecdotes, often with the promise of keeping the juiciest bits off the record. And yet, some insiders allege that he didn't just keep those secrets in the vault, he weaponized them. Rumors have circulated for months that Sharpe allegedly kept a cache of sensitive recordings, clips edited out of his podcast episodes but allegedly saved as leverage. These clips, according to multiple unnamed sources close to the production, were never meant to see the light of day, but they reportedly contained candid, career-ending admissions from A-list names, admissions that, had they been released, could shatter reputations. And here's where things get murkier. Some claim that Sharpe used these recordings not just as a safety net, but as a way to negotiate power in an industry that thrives on secrets. Was he protecting himself, or was he building a house of cards that was destined to collapse under its own weight?
Once again, I've never seen anybody handle a situation worse than Shannon and his team. Like this is, they just handled it wrong from the beginning, from the whole beginning.
Yeah, well.
And then there's the timing. Many are pointing out the suspiciously coincidental sequence of events leading up to the public explosion of these allegations. In the weeks before the lawsuit surfaced, Sharpe was reportedly on the brink of signing a deal that would have catapulted Club Shay Shay into a new stratosphere of influence and profitability. The deal, allegedly worth an eye-popping figure, would have cemented his place as one of the most powerful voices in sports media. But with the lawsuits now dominating headlines, that deal is reportedly in jeopardy, leaving many to wonder who benefits from Sharpe's downfall. Is this truly about accountability, or is it the result of a behind-the-scenes takedown orchestrated by those who felt threatened by his rising star?
People, and he does it all the time. this one and that one and this one and anything that you did wrong.
And let's not forget the collateral damage. As Sharpe's name continues to trend for all the wrong reasons, those who've been connected to him professionally and personally are scrambling to distance themselves. Former podcast guests, once eager to align themselves with the Club Shay Shay brand, are now conspicuously mum about their past appearances. Even some of his closest allies in the sports world have gone silent, their previous endorsements of Sharpe now conspicuous in their absence. It's a classic case of loyalty evaporating under the harsh glare of controversy, and it raises yet another question. How many of these relationships were genuine, and how many were built on the transactional nature of fame? But the fallout isn't just professional, it's deeply personal. Sharpe has long cultivated an image as a man of principle, someone who rose from humble beginnings to become a respected voice in sports and culture. That image, however, is taking hit after hit. Stories are surfacing that paint a far less flattering portrait, depicting him as a man whose charisma masked a pattern of manipulation and control. And while his legal team is working overtime to discredit these claims, the sheer volume of allegations is becoming harder to dismiss. The leaked audio, the text messages, the resurfaced accusations from years past, it's all forming a narrative that feels too tangled to unravel.
Like the Deshaun Watson cases where there were 20 plus plaintiffs and they weren't really sure who the people were who were making the claims. In this case, Shannon Sharpe knows exactly who it is because there had been, and it's clear from the statement issued by his lawyer, Lanny Davis, there had been some pre-litigation efforts to try to resolve this.
And then there's the broader cultural conversation this scandal has ignited. Sharpe's case is touching a nerve in a society increasingly grappling with questions about power dynamics, accountability, and the blurred lines of consent. For every voice defending him as a victim of opportunism, another is calling for a reckoning, arguing that men in positions of power must face consequences for their actions. The polarization is palpable, with social media devolving into a battleground of hot takes and conspiracy theories. Some believe Sharpe is being unfairly targeted, the latest casualty in a culture quick to pass judgment. Others see his downfall as overdue, a long-hidden truth finally coming to light. And while the court of public opinion rages on, the legal battles are just beginning. Tony Busby, the attorney representing Gabriela Zuniga, has made it clear that he intends to pursue this case aggressively, vowing to expose what he describes as a pattern of predatory behavior. Sharpe's team, meanwhile, is equally adamant, framing the lawsuit as a baseless cash grab. The stakes couldn't be higher, not just for Sharpe, but for everyone implicated in the fallout. Careers are on the line, reputations hang in the balance, and the ripple effects are being felt across the entertainment and sports industries.
According to reports, that video will not be released. Attorney Tony Busby came out and said that they are not planning to release that video, how they were dropping audio, because it's a very strong point of their evidence in this case, and they're going to keep it and use it as such. Yeah. Now, that is interesting because Shannon Sharpe, remember, he kept saying he believes the video was going to come out. He believes the video was going to come out. So there's been a change.
But here's the thing. For all the noise, for all the headlines and think pieces, there's a sense that we're still only scratching the surface of this story. What other secrets are waiting to be unearthed? How far will this scandal reach, and who else might find themselves caught in its wake? The drama surrounding Shannon Sharpe isn't just a story about one